and then we'll be back and we'll let you know when we're back and open.
Matt, if I could, before we go into open,
Okay,
We're in open.
okay. We're back into open session, business arising from closed session. Can I get a mover and a second to receive the confidential verbal update? Councillor Sentence and Councillor Decker. All those in favor? Opposed? All those in favor, please raise your hand.
Just to be clear, so is there a recommendation or just a
No,
receipt?
we just received it.
Okay,
That's
thank you,
all
Mr.
it-
Mayor.
Yeah. Opposed? That's carried. Okay. Now, how do we want to proceed?
So, Mr. Mayor, there were a couple of questions that may have led to some more open discussion material. So this would be an opportunity to discuss any of those options that would be for staff, that would be for open discussion.
Okay, so we'll start with 8 Carl. Go ahead, Councillor Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just regarding office space that's required by the city, 8 Carlton has been identified as an area that has potential there. Can it be to expedite, and I guess my first question, how long would it take to get into 8 Carlton?
Through Mr. Mayor, my understanding, talking to staff, is about 1 year process.
Now, is that for a full renovation or is that for a partial? It's quite a size up there. Can we do a modular, like it definitely needs a bathroom, washroom facilities, and can we do a modular to sort of build as we go in terms of office? Because the exterior walls are all done. It's all the interior. Really, there's not much to do. You have to put modular furniture, because you can have an open concept regarding similar to what we have here. The biggest thing is getting a bathroom or a washroom facility, because it was never replaced. Hopefully the plumbing's still there, because the building was totally gutted and the exterior walls, from my knowledge, and the windows are all done. So there shouldn't be a lot of work. I think you could expedite it, and if you could do it modular-wise in sections, with a plan, you could hopefully reduce that 1 year to a very short time span. Again, I don't have those details, but is that something staff could work on to get this done in a shorter time span than a year?
Jason, go ahead. Jason.
to answer that question through the mayor, staff certainly want to see this happen as quickly as possible. The 12 months is just our estimate, because we don't want to underestimate. There is concept plans being developed, and at that point, we might have a better idea as to what kind of realistic timeline we're looking at.
Just then a follow-up, when would the concept plans be completed? Like you said, they're being worked on. Is that something that would come maybe to the next council meeting? Is that quick enough, or is it going to take a little longer than that? Maybe through you, Mr. Mayor, if that could be answered.
Manoj or Jason?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, so the designer who has been retained to do the concept plan has estimated sometime in October for the concept plans to be completed.
Through Mr. Mayor, I think the intent from staff is to get it done as soon as possible, expedite it, get it done as soon as possible, and then relocate some of the staff there which are intended to be there. But the gap is till the time, let's say if we expedite it and it can be done within a 9-month period instead of 12 months, or probably if we do just the flooring has to be done, washrooms have to be done, and even if we provided an open concept and we can able to get it done probably in as quickly as 6 months or 9 months period, but then we need that space for that duration somewhere. So not for entire year, but we need, and again, it's not that we have to go for an year. That is, as Jason is pointing out, that's what the timeline that has been provided to us with staff who are dealing with it. But certainly, as you rightly pointed out, we can expedite that and then reduce our time and expedite the whole construction there. And then as soon as we have the floor is done and the washrooms are done, we could relocate staff there as well, yeah.
Jason, do you want to comment before I go to Counselor Sentence?
Councillor D'Angela had suggested phasing approach. The office space at A. Carlton would need to accommodate helping customers as well. So a large part of the renovations that are required there would need to be in place before we moved people over there in order to be able to function. Yes, there may be some things that could be done at a later stage as we move people in. But I would say the majority of the work would end up having to be done prior to.
Go ahead, Counselor Sentence.
So, are we obligated to a year at 4 Points? We're over here. So we're not obligated. So we could,
Yeah, so without naming that, we have,
over and over.
at this point in time, we just did some preliminary, there is no issue, there is no commitment, of course, we need to get council direction. And certainly based on council direction, it's not that we have to go for a year. It could be done, we could always say that, okay, we'll go for 6 months, and then if required, an extension of possibly 3 months or whatever the time is. We could certainly do that. There's nothing has been cast in stone, nothing has been committed, or nothing has been. Definitely, the intent is to discuss with council what the direction is from council, and then we can certainly move forward with that. But the reason why we are having this discussion because of the urgency of moving stuff. Thanks.
Right, but so could we be going along and everything's going great and we're done in 6 months and say to whoever, okay, thank you very much, we're ready to go, and then we don't have to spend the rest of the money?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I think what we do is, if that's our intention to expedite everything, what we'll do is we will, rather than going for a year, we will say that we are going for 6 months with a possible extension, maybe a month-by-month extension or a 3-month extension period or something like that. We will, of course, when we do go forward with it, we will certainly take advice from a legal, from a commercial lawyer, so that the lease or whatever we are trying to sign up with them is properly done. And then we're not committing for a year. We're committing for 6 months plus possible extension after that.
Personally, I think I could go for that option.
Anyone else want to speak? Go ahead, Counselor.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Jason, will that be enough money? Is this building up to code? Like, we'd have to put sprinkler systems in there and elevators and everything else?
Through the
allocate more
mayor,
money?
are you asking about 8 Carlton Street?
Yes.
All of that is going to be assessed by the consultant.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Counselor Deck.
I like the thought of doing a 6 month and then perhaps going month to month. Because even if they do start work at A. Carlton, there could be the possibility, as long as the floors are in. I mean, they do have the washrooms downstairs and the seniors, you need a kitchen up there as well. You had the, say if you were at 80%. Could be a possibility of moving in there, with minor things being done.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and definitely that's the intent. The intent is not that it is, And also, we have to look at two aspects of it. If it is major completion is done, we also don't want to have staff there and the construction is going on. That would disrupt there as well. But I like what Councilor D'Angelo has said, is that if we can take it as a priority, and I will ask staff who are dealing with the consultant to make sure this is a top priority, and then expedite this whole process as much as possibly can. And then also, we will have a better estimate by our consultant who is looking at the conceptual plan, how much is going to cost us. And we can always bring that aspect to council as well. If, of course, we have a budget item pre-approved by council at this point in time, based on our preliminary discussion internally, I think that money may or may not be sufficient for us to do a full, complete renovation there as well. And then, once we have better understanding, certainly we'll come to council to get their approval or inform them and get their approval. But what we are looking for it now, some sort of a go-ahead, so that even though, rather than, or just insisted a 1 year window, but however we do 6 months, and then we have that kind of contract, and then after that, it's month by month or whatever the agreement could be, we can.
So can we get more information back at the next meeting where we have more definitive answers on timelines for design, timelines, what we might be looking at before we start moving ahead? I think we need definitive answers, like we might be a year, we might be 6 months. We need definitive answers to make a decision based on whether we're gonna put money over here and money over there, and, or whether we're best gonna use the funds that we need to use.
So I know that we will have a better understanding by the end of October, that's understanding, but the problem is the situation on ground is that we need something to be done now. So if council direct us to maintain status quo or something like that for another month, and then we make a decision, that's perfectly fine as well.
But
Wait 1 sec, Councillor. You had your hand up, Jason, but then I'll go to Councillor D'Angelo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was basically going to say the same thing Manoj said, that there is an urgency right now, but it's certainly at council's discretion how they want to move forward.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor D'Angelo.
well, there's urgency, and then we need the information, so I would expedite a staff report to come back at the next council meeting in 3 weeks with some more definitive answers, breakdown of the funding, breakdown of where the money's coming from. If there's a building reserve in the building department, will that also suffice to pay for a large portion at 8 Carlton? Will that come from development charges? Those are impacts I have. The leasing arrangements, what can be, all that information, if it could be brought back, so we're not just throwing dates around, and talk to the consultant, see if you could move the consultant up for design work, and then they should be able to give you a realistic timeline of how long it would take to do the design work construction. They should be able to do that. So that way, we come back with a bit more informed decision. I know it delays the process by 3 weeks, but I'd rather have council, from my perspective, like you said, Mr. Mayor, have more information to make a good educated decision, because these are some big numbers that are being thrown around, and I want to make sure we're getting value for our money.
Thank you. Okay, so go ahead, Councillor Long.
Thank you. I think if everybody's done speaking, I'd like to refer this back to staff to answer Councillor D'Angelo's concerns.
Okay, so we're referring it back to staff for that, which was no debate. And we have a seconder. Oh, you got that? And
Who's the seconder?
Councillor D'Angelo. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried.
Mr. Mayor, just to be clear, I know we can't debate it, but it will be for the next council meeting, right, in 3 weeks?
Yes, I'm
that's
sure
okay.
that staff will want that.
Okay,
back
yeah,
in our
just
hands.
want to make sure it was clear.
So, Mr. Mayor, I think certainly we'll try, but we may or may not by that time as well.
Okay,
Through
Go
you,
ahead,
through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm glad we're hiring staff and we're growing. We're filling our needs, so that's some great news.
okay. Can I get a mover and a seconder for bills 145, 2023 through 151/2023. I got a mover, Counselor Longo, and a seconder, Counselor Decker. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Adjournment. There be no further business. This meeting is hereby adjourned at 10:52 PM.